Maintaining constant alignment of the spine from address to impact is the major determinant of accuracy during the golf swing. Rory has good alignment, which was responsible for a large part of his success at the Open. Good alignment is unnatural. What is natural is to change the spine angle between address and impact, as you can see in Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, neither one of whom can keep their drives in the fairway. Millions of golfers have copied what they think was Ben Hogan's 20-degree increase in his front spine angle with his irons between address and impact. In reality, he increased it only 10 degrees, which is one of the reasons he won 4 U.S. Opens. Rory's front spine angle at address with his driver was 7 degrees, which is less than the tour average of 8 to 11 degrees. His front spine angle at impact was 19 degrees, which means he increased his front spine angle 12 degrees between address and impact. His front spine angle at impact with his driver was exactly the same as Ben Hogan. Rory's increase in front spine angle with his irons was even less, as his front spine angle at impact was only 9 degrees. This means his alignment at impact with his irons was even better than Ben Hogan. Compare this to Tiger Woods, who increases his front spine angle an amazing 15 degrees between address and impact. The problem with increasing your front spine angle between address and impact is that it opens your club face, pushing your drives to the right. This is the cause of Tiger's problems with his driver. You then have to compensate by trying to square up your club face with your hands while the club is traveling 100 plus miles an hour and pulling away from you with 100 pounds of force. This is always a tricky proposition. If you are late, the ball goes right. If you overdo it, the ball goes left. The result is frustration and disappointment. Changing your front spine angle during your swing is like changing the front axis of rotation of your vehicle while driving. You'd never keep your vehicle on the road, just as you can't keep your ball in the fairway. Our golfer, by comparison, has a more unnatural swing than Rory, as he increases his front spine angle from 6 degrees at address to 15 degrees at impact, a change of only 9 degrees. This is why he hits 12 to 13 of his fairways while driving an average of 350 yards. The swing you see here was 375 yards and landed in a very narrow fairway.
We have liftoff at 9:34 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Downrange 1 mile.
Rory increases his front spine angle with his driver because he shifts his hips so much at the beginning of his downswing. He is forced to shift because he tees up so far forward in his stance. But teeing up forward does not add much distance and really degrades accuracy by forcing shifting and increasing the front spine angle. We taught our golfer to tee up in the center of his stance. After we increased his flexibility, he not only increased his distance, but his accuracy as well. While your front spine angle determines the angle of your club face at impact, your spine angle down the line determines whether you hit the ball fat or thin. The natural thing to do is change your spine angle between address and impact. Nearly all golfers drop their hands at address and then let centrifugal force extend their arms and club shaft in a straight line at impact. Since this increases the distance between the shoulders and club head by 7 inches or more, the golfer is forced to stand up or decrease his spine angle during his downswing. The problem is you can't see your spine angle during your swing, so you just have to guess. Standing up 1 degree too much and you hit the ball thin, 1 degree too little and you hit it fat. This is why it takes thousands of practice swings to get it right. Phil Mickelson has a natural swing and does this in spades, making an enormous 19-degree change in his spine angle, which is why he hit less than 54% of his fairways at the Open. Rory is better than natural. He changes his spine angle from address to impact 16 degrees with his driver and only 10 degrees with his irons. But he has done this by adopting a dangerous strategy, restraining his driver. As you can see, Rory drops his hands at address, which is entirely natural. But then he fights 100 pounds of centrifugal force with his small forearm muscles by restraining his driver and forcing his hands to return to the same position at impact as they were at address. The result is better ball striking. But golfers who have done this in the past, such as Sam Snead, Ben Hogan, and Lee Trevino, have all ended up with the yips. Modern golfers who do this, such as Sergio Garcia and Vijay Singh, have subsequently developed problems with their putting. The reason that over-gripping leads to yipping is that overuse of muscles tears many of the tens of thousands of tiny muscle fibers that make up each muscle. Microfibers, a mild form of scar tissue, then form in and around the muscles to help the healing process. The microfibers and tension from chronic overuse accumulate in the forearm muscles, and they then spasm when the golfer has to lightly grip the putter. Our solution to maintaining a constant spine angle and avoiding the yips is to adopt an unnatural address position, putting the hands on the swing plane at address, since that's where they'll be at impact if you don't restrain your driver. Our golfer, as you can see here, changes his spine angle only 5 degrees from address to impact, or less than a third of what Rory does. This is why he can keep a 375-yard drive in the fairway. The secret to controlling your ball in golf is to control your spine, setting up in the middle of your stance, rotating your hips instead of shifting, relying on hip speed instead of obliques to power your downswing, and putting your hands on your swing plane at address will help keep your spine angles constant. You can't control your line unless you control your spine. Rory's putting during the Open was spectacular because his putting stroke is unnatural. While most golfers have a very short backswing and long follow-through as a result of jabbing at the ball, Rory has almost equal putting angles and a nice smooth putting motion. While he moves his hips during his putts, it's not nearly as much as Y.E. Yang. Rotating your hips during putting is natural, but makes you miss putts to the left, which Yang did in spades during the Open. Rory also had a better putting motion down the line than Yang. Rory, Yang, and other golfers would putt better if they adopted a more unnatural putting stance, like Padraig Harrington, who usually leads the European Tour in putting. A narrow putting stance is inherently unstable, as you can determine for yourself by having someone push your hips while in a narrow stance. Now adopt a driver width stance, and you will feel that your hips are rock solid even when pushed. A natural swing can be a good thing, but an unnatural swing can be even better.